There comes a moment in every chosen one's life, when the silence becomes louder than any crowd and the isolation feels more like home than any gathering ever could. If you have ever felt like the room was too noisy for your soul to breathe, if you have ever wondered why you feel completely drained after being around people for too long, if you have ever walked away from conversations feeling like you left a piece of yourself behind, then this message was written specifically for you. This is not just coincidence, this is divine confirmation. You are not antisocial, you are not broken. You are spiritually selected, you are divinely marked, you are a chosen one, and there is a sacred reason why your energy cannot mix with the masses. Before we dive deeper into this profound truth, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you feel the pull of this message vibrating in your chest. This space is created for the seekers, the awakened, the spiritual misfits, who have transformed into masters. And if you have landed on this video at the exact time you needed to hear this message, pause for a moment and type 1111 in the comment section right now. That is your spiritual confirmation. That is the universe whispering to your soul that you are aligned, you are guided, you are protected. The first sacred truth you must understand is that your energy is rare, and rare things do not blend in with the ordinary. Let us stop pretending that you have not always known this deep truth. Long before anyone else could see it, you felt it burning within your soul, a subtle yet unshakable awareness that you did not quite belong where you were placed. Even in moments when you laughed with the crowd, followed the trends and mimicked the rituals of fitting in, you still knew there was an invisible distance between you and the world around you. A gap between your inner truth and the outer noise that surrounded you. You tried to silence this knowing. You tried to conform to their expectations, but no matter how hard you worked to camouflage yourself, something deep within your spirit whispered, this is not your home, this is not your final destination. And that whisper was not insecurity speaking. It was prophecy declaring itself, it was your soul recognizing its divine assignment, and rejecting anything that tried to diminish its sacred purpose. You carry a frequency that does not seek attention yet commands it naturally. Your presence alone speaks in a language beyond words, felt more than heard. You do not just enter a space, you transform it completely. The spiritual atmosphere shifts when you arrive. People pause, though they cannot explain why. Some are drawn to you instantly, magnetized by your authenticity, your inner light, your profound stillness. Others recoil immediately, unsettled not by anything you have done, but by what your presence reflects back to them, because you are a spiritual mirror, a truth revealer. And the thing about truth is that it is not always welcomed by those who prefer comfortable illusions. The second revelation you must embrace is that solitude is not loneliness but spiritual alignment. You have probably lost count of how many times this has happened to you. A complete stranger sits next to you, and within minutes, they are revealing things they have not told their closest friends. Trauma, regret, dreams, confessions pour out of people like a dam breaking. You have wondered why this happens so consistently. Why does the universe treat you like a sacred confessional booth? It is because your energy speaks before your words ever do. Even when you were confused or hurting yourself, your soul emitted a calm that others could feel. You make people feel seen without judgment. There is a sacred difference between being alone and being lonely, and chosen ones must learn this distinction early. Your soul was not built for the noise of the masses. You were not designed to thrive in constant chatter, endless crowds, or superficial bonds that drain your spiritual reserves. You are wired for depth, for truth, for connections that transcend the surface. That is why solitude calls to you, not as a punishment, but as a sanctuary. While the world rushes to be seen and validated by others, you have been summoned to see clearly with spiritual eyes. While others seek confirmation through applause, your spirit craves divine alignment and inner knowing. Stillness is not emptiness. It is the birthplace of clarity. It is in the quiet moments when the world goes silent that God speaks loudest to your receptive heart. you do not need the echo of the crowd to confirm your worth. You need the sound of the Spirit to confirm your path. That is why the universe will often orchestrate your isolation, not to harm you but to sharpen you spiritually. You are being fine-tuned, recalibrated, called inward for divine preparation because noise breeds confusion, and confusion is the enemy of purpose. The third truth concerns energy vampires and the necessity of spiritual protection. As someone who radiates authentic light, you must understand a universal spiritual law. Not everyone drawn to you is sent by love. Some come not to admire your flame but to feed off it. They sense your spiritual power, even if they cannot name it. So they orbit around you, not to grow alongside you but to drain what you have cultivated. These are the energy vampires, the ones who smile in your face while quietly eroding your soul reserves. But here is what you must remember. Compassion does not require self-betrayal. Your spiritual sensitivity is not a defect. It is your divine gift, your sacred radar, finely tuned to frequencies that others completely ignore. You know when someone's words do not match their energy signature. You feel the envy hiding behind their compliments. You hear the deception inside their laughter. And when you try to explain these intuitive knowings to others, they often call you too much or too sensitive, but what they fail to understand is that your discernment is sacred. You are not paranoid, you are perceptive. You are not being distant without reason, you are being discerning with wisdom. Protect that gift with fierce devotion. You must learn to guard your energy like royalty guards their throne. Not everyone gets access to your inner world, not everyone deserves a seat at your sacred table. They are spiritual protection, and guilt has no business making decisions in your spiritual life. The fourth revelation is that divine isolation serves as training for your greater purpose. There will come a time in every chosen one's journey when everything familiar begins to fall apart. The friends you once laughed with begin to drift away. The relationships you clung to start to unravel. The environments that once brought comfort now feel suffocating. It is tempting to think you are losing everything. But what you are actually experiencing is divine alignment. God does not subtract from your life to punish you. He subtracts to prepare you for something greater. You prayed for growth, did you not? You asked for purpose, clarity, peace, and transformation. But all of those spiritual gifts come with a cost. Elevation requires elimination. Sometimes God has to clear the room before He can speak to you clearly. That is why you find yourself alone so often. Not because you have been abandoned, but because you are being trained for something sacred. Isolation is not a spiritual void, it is a divine crucible where your character is refined. The wilderness seasons are not the end of your journey, they are the beginning of your true becoming. Look at the great spiritual giants throughout history. Moses heard God in the desert, not the palace. David was shaped in solitude, not in crowds. Jesus was tested in the wilderness alone. Buddha found enlightenment beneath a solitary tree. Muhammad received revelation in a quiet cave, because greatness is never born in noise, it is carved in sacred silence. It is hammered in the heat of divine isolation where your soul can hear clearly and your spirit can grow strong. The fifth truth is that you are guarding a sacred flame that must be protected. There is a fire inside you that is ancient, holy, and fiercely alive. It is not the kind of flame that flickers with popularity or burns out under public opinion. Yours is a sacred flame, lit by divine hands, sustained by eternal purpose and destined to illuminate paths that no one else dares to walk. That is why you feel the spiritual weight that you do. That is why you cannot move carelessly like others move through life. You were never called to follow the crowd. You were called to carry light into places of darkness. Your energy is not common, your mission is not casual, so no, you cannot just hang out without purpose. You cannot waste your time on hollow conversations or soul-numbing routines. Every moment matters. Every interaction either fuels your sacred fire or dims your spiritual glow. You are not built for gossip. You are not moved by trends. You are not here to impress the masses. You are here to awaken souls. That is why small talk feels like betrayal to your spirit. That is why you crave depth like oxygen, because your time on this earth is not ordinary. It is divinely appointed, so stop shrinking yourself to be palatable. Stop apologizing for the boundaries that protect your sacred space. Stop offering explanations for the solitude that your soul requires. You do not owe anyone unlimited access to your inner sanctuary. Not everyone is meant to walk closely with you. Some were only meant to witness your light from a distance. As your spirit evolves, your circle will naturally shrink. That is not loneliness. It is divine alignment. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because spiritually speaking, it does. Peace is not just a preference. It is your spiritual protection, the sacred atmosphere, where your gifts can breathe, your discernment can sharpen, and your spirit can commune with the divine. Without inner peace, you cannot hear divine guidance clearly. You cannot feel spiritual warnings accurately. You cannot see the sacred signs that direct your path. Your peace must be guarded like the sacred treasure it is, because it is not just your place of rest, it is your place of revelation. If this message has stirred something deep inside your spirit, if you felt the chills, the tears, the profound resonance, do not ignore these sacred signs. Type 1111 in the comments right now. That is your soul saying yes to truth. That is your agreement with God and your higher self. That is your way of declaring, I accept this calling. I honor this sacred flame. I trust this divine path. You are not alone in this journey, even when it feels like you are walking in solitude. You are simply ahead of your time, preparing the way for others to follow, and in the sacred silence, God is speaking directly to your receptive heart. Thank you for watching.